The Loud House Director's Rut. This episode is about Luann putting on a play, and whenever everyone isn't sticking to the script, she puts Mr. Coconuts in charge of directing. This episode is a mess. There's a lot of issues with it, and it might just very well be one of the worst episodes of the show, in my opinion. Luann is an asshole in this episode. It's seriously what it is. Luann is just an asshole. Both at the beginning and during the Mr. Coconuts part. And yes, I understand Mr. Coconuts is technically a separate character, although it doesn't really make any sense. It's still a separate character, I guess. But in reality, let's be honest. If a ventriloquist tells a joke that offends people, who's at fault? The puppet or the comedian? The comedian. They wouldn't blame something that was made out of fabric or plastic. They would blame the comedian, the one who said it. Anyways, aside from that, really, this episode, it has flaws. It has a lot of flaws like that. It has a lot of flaws. And the pun jokes are plentiful here. And I don't really like Luann's, puns already. So that's kind of, a thing I didn't really like about her character or whatever. So hearing all these puns are not really helping that fact. And the entire thing just felt like it dragged on for far too long. It felt like it was just like a snail just running. It was like there wasn't any jokes. There wasn't any really, really cool humor to make the episode flow better and flow nicer throughout the entire thing. It just felt like it just dragged on. And the jokes that they did make just felt cruel. And I honestly was just thinking the entire time, I was like, Luann is saying all this directly to them. It's pretty clear and obvious that she is annoyed with them. It's pretty clear and obvious that she is the one doing this out of, spite and bottling up her emotion. You know what I mean? And she's just talking through Mr. Coconuts, which actually would have been pretty awesome. And I actually would have applauded that. Maybe we could have had a moral where it was be yourself or be honest with people, something like that. And yes, I understand, once again, it's technically not her, but it still doesn't make any sense. Like I just said, it doesn't make any sense. And there was also a way to fix all of that. Like I said, you had the moral. Be honest and tell people how you feel instead of bottling up and letting it come out aggressively. They could have done that. They could have done that just fine. Could you just imagine how amazing that would have been? Luann, after getting frustrated about how the first rehearsal went, she was like, oh man, this so stinks, this is terrible, they're not following me or whatever. She goes back home to plan a scheme or something along those lines to maybe make it to where Mr. Coconuts and her start bossing people around and stuff. And it could have actually worked. If you did it right, it could have actually worked. And just have, Luann messing with them. And then all of our friends are like, whoa, what's going on? And then at the very end with, the apology and stuff. She was like, I'm sorry that Mr. Coconuts was being all mean to you. And you could have just had our friends say at the very end, no, you did that. You bottled up your emotions from yesterday whenever we didn't follow your script. It wasn't your puppet. It was you. Or something along those lines. You know what I mean? Something along those lines. And like I said, I would have enjoyed that. It would have been amazing. It would have been good. And it would have been another one of those, oh wow, I didn't see that coming type moments from season 5. Because we kind of just, admitted that, Mr. Coconuts is not its own separate character. It's just Luann, you know what I mean? We could have really, really had some character growth there. But no, instead we got, Luann being a dick for 11 minutes the episode. With little to no consequences being tossed at her. With, them hugging, the weird-ass apology to be like, oh, we accept your apology. With, the lame background piano piece. What a mess. I mean, I didn't think you could get worse than a flip, Miss Carol, but man, season 5, you proved me wrong. And before you say that the reason why I hated this episode and the reason why I loved it is because of the fact I don't like Luann. I've already reviewed an episode, Silence of the Luanns, an amazing episode, best of season 5 so far, easily. It is such a great episode. And it stars Luann, so I'm not biased. I just don't like it whenever a character gets this type of episode. For any character. I don't care if it's a character I don't respect or I don't like. You know what I mean? I don't like it whenever a supposedly nice character like Luann's supposed to be gets treated like this. And it honestly wouldn't have been bad because I actually expected this episode to be like Mr. Coconuts went too far and stuff, and maybe like Luann confronts him for that or something stupid like that. You could have done that, and it actually could have worked. Or the other thing I mentioned. Like, seriously, this makes the April Fool's Day episodes, like, tame in comparison. Like, how did that even happen? I used to think that was, like, the worst of the worst, and Luann possibly could not get any more psychotic, weird, mean, stuff like that. And here comes this episode. I mean, to be fair, there's really nothing else to say. This episode is awful. It joins one of the boys, Flip Miss Carol, as one of the worst episodes of the series for me personally. You could have made this so much better, and could have done so much more with it. This looks like a first draft of a script in a revision. It really does. It really feels like that. This is something that, like, I feel like whenever you're looking at the script to, like, review it for the first time, you should cut out most of this. Like, the apology at the end made me roll my eyes. That never happens on this show, and there are some cheesy fucking apology moments. I mean, hell, we literally had Flying Solo, an episode from a few months ago, that literally saw Clyde sabotaging Lincoln, and then the apology at the very end. And it was kind of like, I mean, okay, cool, you know, whatever. But, like, it was kind of like, whoa, Link, are you sure you're gonna apologize that quick? Okay, all right. Sure, you do you, I guess. You made me lose my voice, but oh well. You know, I'll hug you, it's okay, whatever. But this is basically just a textbook example of how not to write an episode like this. Like, just one that has a character doing something like this. One that has a character being... Because I know it's a cartoon, I understand it's a cartoon, and they want to make conflict, and they want to do this. I understand that, and that's why I proposed my longer explanation as to how I feel like you should fix this episode. And it does suck, because this actually could have been a really good episode. I was actually very, very hopeful for this one. I actually was, like, thinking that, like... I don't think this is going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be a bad episode. I think it's probably going to be like a meh. That's what I was kind of expecting at the very beginning. I won't lie to you, by the middle point of this episode, whenever I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is probably going to be a meh. Because it was like, there was nothing really going on. There was nothing really happening. It was just a stage for like 5 minutes, and then finally you got the coconuts part, and it's like, ugh. And plus, Luann is one of those characters as well that just doesn't really interest me as much as these other characters. Like I said, not because I hate her or anything. That's not the reason. It's just, like, she doesn't really get focused on too much, so it's very, very hard. I mean, hell, this is the first time I think we've seen Benny. Apparently, her boyfriend, apparently, so-called, apparently. I don't know if that's actually still a thing, but it might be. I don't know. Honestly, with how the show forgets stuff, I wouldn't be surprised. But it's a shame. It really, really is. I thought this was going to be a mess. And at least, like, and I mean, Sprigg said it very, very well. Mediocrity is comforting. And, yeah, unfortunately, this isn't mediocrity. So it's not very comforting for this episode. This is awful. It's a bad episode. It's not great. And, wow. That's, something I did not expect. I mean, the Flip one, I kind of expected that one from Season 5 to be kind of like, because I really don't like Flip as of this. But Luann, I didn't expect Luann. Although I do kind of loathe her as well, it's not as bad as Flip. Nowhere near as bad as Flip. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and awesome. This was a longer review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I will go and see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.